Ours is a high-stake game where every movement really matters. A shift from operating in fear to performing in flow. We can learn a lot from these musicians. Now, other than all this fear, there is a fear which I call karma, that is the weight of past experience and external influences. Maybe a surgery gone wrong, maybe a patient who died in our hands, maybe some terrible complication that happened completely. Now, if you look at Indian philosophical insights, there's a very powerful metaphor for this. A fire in the chest, a fire in the belly. So the practical applications for surgeons and high pressure professions is, I'd like you to leave with a thought. Today, we will talk about from fear to flow. This is a neurosurgeon's path to mastery. So good morning to everyone. As part of the Neurosurgery Coach initiative, we're talking today about what we neurosurgeons face every day in and out. Ours is a high-stake game where every movement really matters. How often do we operate with an underlying sense of fear? I see that many youngsters, they start off a complex case with a sense of fear, they operate with a sense of fear, and they finish with a sense of fear, and after that they're so tired. Now, the fear can be fear of mistakes, complications, unsatisfactory outcome, or even hearsay, what people could have told you about that case. This fear can literally tighten the small muscles or rush our actions, leading to impatience and working against the very delicate skills that our surgical field demands. Today, I'd like to share an alternate approach, a shift from operating in fear to performing in flow. So fear is that tightness in the chest, that shortness of breath, the adrenaline rushing through our veins. It's a very instinctive reaction to perceived threats. In our context, it could be the fear of a patient's life resting in our hands, or simply the fear of failing. On the other hand, there is flow. Flow is that state where time seems to disappear. There's not much of a purpose. We are completely absorbed at the steps of the surgery. Imagine a musician playing an intricate piece on guitar or drums. They're not thinking about the next note or worrying about making a mistake. They're fully present. They're enjoying the rhythm, allowing their fingers to move almost effortlessly. We can learn a lot from these musicians. Despite the complexity of their craft, they perform with ease, with joy, and with incredible precision. Their secret? They are in flow, not driven by fear, but carried by focus and presence. Now, we can look at the neuroscientific perspective of this. When we experience fear, the amygdala, that's our brain's alarm system, lights up. This triggers the release of adrenaline, preparing us for a fight or flight response. And when this rush of adrenaline can sometimes be useful, it may push us over the finish line. It comes at a cost of pulling the blood flow away from the parts of the brain responsible for fine motor skills and critical thinking, pushing us into a reactive mode. So, in contrast, when we are in a state of flow, the prefrontal cortex, that is the area responsible for self-consciousness, doubt, they actually becomes less active. This allows us to trust our skills, to move with fluidity and intuition rather than doubting our every second step. So the role of practice and focus is also important. To achieve flow, we have to keep on having deliberate practice and a shift of mindset. Imagine focusing on a single point, a target without any fear. This is cold focus. And if you can do that, the flow will naturally take you to where you need to go. But getting there to practice, just as a musician practices the scales, as surgeons, we have to practice our techniques repeatedly until they become a reflex, like a second nature. And more than that, we must practice approaching each surgery, each challenge with a sense of calm and focus, letting go of the fear that can cloud our judgment. Now, other than all this fear, there is a fear which I call karma, that is the weight of past experience and external influences. Many of us carry the weight of past experiences, maybe a surgery gone wrong, maybe a patient who died in our hands, maybe some terrible complication that happened completely unrelated complications. So from the fear of past failures or stories we must have heard from colleagues, they can seep into our present moment. This causes us to be high-strung before we even make a mistake. Think about it. We are operating and we are walking into an operating room, already tense, expecting the worst. This is designed to fail. Add this to the external pressures we face outside of work. Traffic jams, unhealthy lifestyles, crammed up in small living apartments, toxic relationships that we find sometimes in. These factors all drain our energy, leaving us depleted and unable to access the state of flow, which I call the quantum coherence. Now, if you look at Indian philosophical insights, there's a very powerful metaphor for this. Fear and anxiety are often described as a fire in the chest. That's a burning sensation, a tightness that we feel when we're stressed. In contrast, true focus and calm comes from having a fire in the belly, specifically the Manipura chakra, which represents the core of power and willpower. So when we operate with a fire in the chest, we are anxious, reactive, prone to mistakes. But when there is fire in the belly, the same fire can be taken to the belly with breathing. And when we are grounded, we're steady and capable of performing to our highest potential. So the practical applications for surgeons and high pressure professions is 1. Breath control. Before entering the operating room, take a moment to focus on your breath. Slow, deep breaths activate the parasympathetic system, helping to calm the mind. Second thing is mindfulness and visualization. Visualize a successful surgery, each steps going smoothly. This primes your minds to stay calm and focused when challenges arise. Physical and mental health. Now, maintaining overall fitness and well-being, challenging your body every day is crucial. The healthier your body, the easier it is to achieve, to access the state of flow. This includes eating well, getting enough rest, engaging in activities that bring you joy, like being kind, being nice, and not getting angry and things like that. Now, connecting with joyful activities, whether it's playing an instrument, exercising, or simply meditating in nature, reconnecting with activities that bring you joy, can all help you reclaim that natural, childlike state of flow. In conclusion, to return to a childlike state, I remember Enigma's song, Return to Innocence. In closing, I'd like you to leave with a thought. Flow is our natural state. You don't have to do anything to access it. It is our natural state for everybody. Think of a child at play, fully immersed. They are curious, they're joyful. There's no fear of failure, just pure engagement with the moment. As surgeons, we have responsibility not just to our patients but to ourselves to reclaim that state of flow, to let go of the fear, to trust in our training, and to approach each surgery with the same joy and presence as a child playing a game. The next time you step into an operating room, I invite you to shift the fire from your chest to your belly. Embrace the flow, let go of the fear, and you may find that not only does your work improve, so does your experience of surgery improve. Thank you very much. God bless.